Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Badminton Weekly with me, Jasmine Lim. Now, the European leg may have come to an end, but there is still plenty to unpack and analyze, so we're going to do that in the next 15 minutes. And to take us through it all, we have two experts on the show today. BWF commentator Steen Pettersson will share his thoughts on the Japanese men's singles contingent and how they perform in Europe later in the show. But for now, let's welcome back India's doubles player, Ashwini Ponnappa. Ashwini, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi Jasmine, I'm happy to be back today.
So Ashwini, let's dive straight into it, shall we? Now, there were 24 different winners across the 5 tournaments in Europe, and your compatriots Chirag Shetty and Satwik Sairachuanka Reddy were one of them when they lifted their first title of the year at the Swiss Open. This win was particularly significant to them as it came after a 2-month layoff due to Rankareddy's hip injury, and it was clear that it really meant a lot to them. Do you have any insights on just how much work they have to put into a comeback like this?
Well, when a player is injured, there's a lot that needs to be done, starting with working on the injury and making sure that you address the injury and come back stronger, and make sure you do your rehab work so that the injury doesn't relapse. So that's like one of the most important things, in making sure that you're doing steps that's needed in order to get stronger and not really rushing into getting back into the game. I would say the way Satwik and Chirag played at the Swiss Open, his recovery period seems to have been pretty good, because I'm sure he would have worked a lot to make sure that he's fit and ready to get back on court, because you can't really not do a good recovery and expect to come back and play at that level. So it was really good to see Satwik and Chirag play at that high level, especially since they've had a great run in 2022. And to come back and win their first title for the year after an injury, I'm sure they're really happy about it.
The pair's road to the Swiss Open final was definitely not an easy one. They played 3 grueling back-to-back long matches en route to the last 2. Despite that, they still displayed great strength and determination against China's Reng Xiangyu and Tang Qiang in the final. What impressed you most about their performance there?
One of the things that impressed me the most about their performance in the finals is the fact that they thoroughly enjoyed the match. You could see it in their expressions. And they weren't really scared when they were playing. Even though they had a lead and the Chinese pair did come back, they held their nerves to finish the match in the end. And I've seen that over the years their game styles changed quite a bit, like from Satwik being predominantly at the back and hitting really hard smashes. Now you see Chirag also at the back of the court, and both of them rushing to the net, which is quite a bit really to their advantage in that final match, because the Chinese found it really hard to get the shuttle back past the net player, and you had Shetty moving in, you had Rankareddy moving in, and the two of them with their height and their power, it was pretty difficult for the Chinese to get the shuttle past them.
Now, with this title in the bag, what do you think is important for the pair now to make sure they can really continue this good form and perhaps win more titles in the year, as well as help Team India in the Sudirman Cup?
One of the most important things for Satwik and Chirag moving into the Olympic year would be for them to choose the right number of tournaments so that they're not overworking their body, and also make sure that they stay injury free to the best of their ability, because as players you can't really predict when you get injured. But one of the things we can do is to make sure that our load during our training and also tournaments that we choose aren't too much to make it really heavy on our body and put a lot of pressure on it. So I would say that is something that they would be working on. Along with, of course, they are doing everything that's needed to be done in order for them to perform really well at the highest level. And I'm sure that they would continue to do that.
I mean, it's been long we played finals and we wanted to do well. And personally, it's my comeback tournament. I was in injury, so it's really emotional for me. And I wanted to do well no matter what. We are going all in. Doesn't matter if we are playing 3 games, tight games, and we know how they play Chinese game. And we are pretty confident on court. Our body language was confident from the starting, and really happy the way we played throughout the tournament. Yeah.
Now, let's turn our attention to the women's doubles category, where Japanese pair Ayoko Sakuramoto and Reina Miura were the only ones to walk away with 2 titles in Europe. A walkover in Basel handed them their first one, but they really worked hard for the second against China's Liu Shengshu and Tan Ning in Orleans. Are you surprised by their overall performance in Europe?
I am not surprised by Sakuramoto and Miura's performance because they have been playing really well. They've had a remarkable run at the European leg, and they are a pair that everyone would need to look out for because they're fast, they're agile, they're strong on their offense, they're strong on their defense, and they're go-getters on court. Of course, all the Japanese players are. All the pairs are very agile and very quick on their feet. But this is a new pair who's up and coming, so they have that to an advantage, and they definitely made the best use of it and made sure that they gave all their opponents a really good fight. And at the end, they came out victorious because they held their nerves and played really strong badminton.
And as you said, they are really a relatively new pair, only playing together since September of last year. But is there anything particular about their playing style that stood out for you?
For me, what I love about their style is how agile they are and how light they are on their feet. It's kind of like they have springs in their leg. They're really fast. And I also like the fact that they enjoy themselves on court. That's something that I did notice. And they're strong. They make sure that they're consistent with their attack. They're consistent with their defense. And overall, they do play like all the other Japanese pairs as well because everyone's really good. And this pair is no different.
Sakuramoto and Miura certainly add more depth to the Japanese women's doubles team, with 6 pairs now in the top 30. Are they proving to be the ones to beat going forward in this particular category?
It's very hard to say, but the two of them having done really well in the European leg definitely makes them the pair to look out for because they've recently done well. But like you said, there are 6 pairs in the top 30 and everyone's really good. All the pairs from Japan are very strong, very agile, very good with their attack and very good with their defense. So all of them are really hard. I wouldn't just pick one pair because I would say everyone's really good.
Well, Ashwini, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. Your insights and expertise are always incredibly refreshing, and we look forward to having you back on the show real soon.
Thank you, Jasmine. It was a pleasure being here.
It wasn't just Sakuramoto and Miura who made Japan proud in Europe. The men's singles category also saw 2 other Japanese players dominating the podium in Basel and Madrid. To shed light on this and provide an overview of how the Japanese men's singles contingent has performed overall, here's BWF commentator Steen Pedersen with his expert pick.
Hi, I'm Steen Pedersen, BWF commentator and former Danish head coach. Today we're going to take a look at the Japanese men's singles. The Japanese men's singles have done extremely well in the recent European legs, and it's interesting to see where they're at exactly at the moment. Are they as good as the result indicates? Now, going into this European leg of tournaments, my biggest expectations were with Kodai Naraoka, because I felt he played so well in Malaysia Open in January, where he reached the final. Unfortunately, he looked not at his best, Kodai Naraoka, and I think that's one of the things that the Japanese team will have to be careful about, that they don't outwork him and let him play too many tournaments. He's struggling with his legs. For me, Naraoka's European trip here was a little bit disappointing, and I think we have much more to expect from him and much more to come from him. So then we get to Kenta Nishimoto and Kanta Tsuneyama. Now, they started out a little bit slow in Germany and All England, and there was nothing much to report from there, but then they made a smart move, in my opinion. They sat out of the Swiss Open and came back and played Spain Masters, so they had 1 week of practice in between All England and Spain Masters, and why did that work out well for them, as they played each other in the final, with Nishimoto coming out on top as the winner. Prior to that, the big surprise to me in this European leg, Koki Watanabe, who is actually not in the Japanese A team, he's in the B team, didn't participate in German or All England, came in and went straight on to win Swiss Open. That was perhaps one of the biggest surprises in men's singles, in that European leg. Now, if we look at the playing style of Naroka, Tsuneyama, Nishimoto, and Watanabe, and try to compare them to each other, in my opinion, they're actually quite similar in playing style or strategy. The thing is that they're all four very, very strong retrievers. They're extremely quick on their feet. I think it's almost runs through the whole Japanese team that everybody is super fast on their feet. That definitely goes for these four players. They're super fast around the court, and fantastic retrieval, fantastic defense, gets so much back. Now, one of the things that I feel that these four players have developed throughout the last 6 to 9 months is a playing style that is more versatile and doesn't just rely on their retrieving skills, but they're also capable of directing the rallies, of putting so much pressure, so much constant pressure on their opponents that it makes it extremely difficult to play against them. They're super good at maintaining the attack and staying on top of the rallies, so to speak. So they're playing the playing style that you want to play if you play in drifty conditions and play with the drift, where you want to keep everything downwards and everything to the front court, or almost everything to the front court. They've become really, really good at applying this playing style throughout a full match. Now, if we compare these two playing styles, excellent retrieval skills and the initiative, the possibility of putting pressure on the opponents over and over again, and compare that to the Momota of 2018 and 2019, big difference is that the shot quality of the 2019 Momota was extreme. That is perhaps the part where these four players are lacking a little bit, and I feel that Kodai Naroka, he's just 21, and I think that that's something that he has going for him, that he's still got time to learn. He's a relatively new entry, so I think he has a much better chance of developing his shot quality to a level that's close to the one we saw Momota have in 2019. Super defense and a fantastic net game. So I really think that Kodai Naroka, he could be the new top dog in the Japanese team. With Nishimoto, Tsuneyama, Watanabe, and Naroka's improvement, and they've definitely gotten a taste for wins, so that also helps in terms of motivation. And perhaps Kento Momota back to something that looks like his recent form. Then Japanese men's singles looks to be in great shape. And to emphasize that, a youngster, Yudai Okimoto, he won both the Dutch junior tournament and the German junior tournament, which was played during these 5 World Tour tournaments in Europe. So the future for Japanese men's singles badminton definitely looks interesting.
Thanks so much, Steen, for that. And with that, we have come to the end of today's show. Thank you once again to Ashwini for joining us, and of course to all of you guys back at home. Remember, you can continue to stay up to date with the latest in the badminton world through the BWF Badminton app, Badminton for You. And like always, don't forget to leave your comments, thoughts, and questions on our Facebook and YouTube page. Until next time, take care.